I don't know. Are you familiar? I don't know how much you are or aren't familiar with other people's playlists, but this day was after I basically hard grinded and set a bunch of high scores on Trip's Smooth Region playlist,
Oh,
and I
um, I actually, I'm not very familiar with most people's playlists, but I'm 90% sure I do know that one. I feel like, um, is that, I've definitely seen it, but it was a while ago, so you're just gonna have to remind me. I'll take a look at it afterwards. Is that something you play a lot?
I've started to, especially Kill Money, playing it a lot.
Your mic's kind of going in and out of volume. Like I'll hear you really loud, and then you'll switch to really quiet.
Let me try this. Is that any better?
It seems like it is.
Okay, let's see how it goes. I can just copy this and send that to you.
Okay, nice. Let's look at this. Mind share your
So,
screen and showing me some timestamps. Oh, is this just streaming the Kovacs? No Apex
it
gameplay?
it is Apex gameplay. I just
Okay.
started.
Alright, let's just watch this directly then, I guess.
Us? Is that a fair
Oh, wait,
deal?
yeah, your screen sharing, nice. Alright, yeah, because you'll know where you have good gunfights. I just want to see, like, maybe 5 gunfights or so, just to get a rough skill level approximation and what it looks like in game. You already seem to have a long list of things you want to get better at.
This quality is so low right now. So we actually had ironically two fights in the same area, so I couldn't remember which one was which.
I got you, I got you. Yeah. The guy who made the players to spell Trippez.
Yes.
Oh, that's hilarious. The only thing I know that guy from is there was this person who made a massive Minecraft server for everyone who plays a lot of aim trainers. And I think he like stole my netherite one time.
That's actually hilarious.
I'd say it's pretty funny.
Here, I did a lot of shooting here.
Okay, nice, nice. With Valorant players, it's super easy to see their aim in game because they can just launch a death match. But 95 and 95% of the time, I'll ask people what they what game they're trying to improve at for the coaching, and it'll either be Valorant or CS or whatever. But it's always the one time I don't ask. It's the battle royale player who obviously there's not really death matches in battle royales, so we got lucky with you because you stream, so we can skip through timestamps and actually get some good
I
gameplay.
could do, I can test something real quick and just
No,
make
we're
this
chilling. We're
way
chilling.
easier.
We're chilling with this because I really only want to see like a couple minutes of gameplay, and then I'm ready to. Oh yeah, we're pulling up your Apex tracker. Okay, okay.
I was
We're gonna.
trying to remember what way easier for me to just open Apex at this point. I was gonna see what because we have their we do have a TDM mode, and then we have a couple of
Honestly, we're good with what I saw, especially where you already have like a specific list of things you want to get better at. You know what I mean? Like with the target reading,
right.
and combined with what I saw, we're fine. Like I'm like with you having like the stream, it worked.
Is that this is another one, and with you being, I know your personal experiences with Val, so like clip timing is something I've struggled with a lot. But
I've worked with.
I've just
started to work with a decent bit of Apex players in the past little while, cause they trickle in just cause Noted, you know Noted.
Yes.
He was an Apex pro, and obviously for a bit, and obviously a lot of my initial following was from the I Aim Coach Noted video. So I got like some people who wanted Apex help from that. And that kind of just made it so every like 1 in every 5 to 10 sessions is like a Apex or some kind of battle royale player.
I just know that you have a good understanding of mouse control.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for, to talk about aim exactly.
Because I'm trying to get some coaching from Siva at some point, because he's probably one of the best reactive tracking coaches.
I've definitely heard that name before. Hold up. Siva, I'm going to Twitter. How do you spell it?
CEIBIA.
Oh, Siba. Oh, I've seen that guy before. I've seen the name before. I don't really know anything. Nice. Alright, so we're working on the click timing. I think we should be good to switch to Kovacs at this point. We've had enough of this. If you want to just open up Kovacs.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't need to spend our whole day in Apex. So you made a list. I'm going to try and pull it from memory. Key points. You said you did not like your reactive track. Or you said target reading was off. Being able to smoothly adjust from flicking to some kind of track / dynamic movement. Bad. What were the other points you mentioned?
And then biggest one is reading an AD spam.
Okay, AD spam reading. And that would be more for dynamic, for tracking, or for both?
For both.
All right, cool.
That's a very horizontal like issue that I have, where I move my mouse way too much with horizontal fast strafes.
How often do you play close fast strafes Invincible?
Not very much anymore.
No, anymore. Did you used to?
Yes, that's fine.
All right, let's see it. We got close long strafes. You like that one?
Yes. That's the easy one.
One above it. Yep, there you go. Nope, that's the thin version. If you want, for 35%, yeah, let's do thin. Why not?
I did not start the challenge on this one. I'm completely not one.
Okay. Okay. Oh, are we on? We're on free play. My bad. Yeah, pause this.
I wouldn't let me play the challenge.
Oh, to do the challenge, you gotta. It's a new UI update in the top next to the play button on top. You just switch from challenge to free play on that little slider. Let's see. What do I want to see differently here? So, you see how you would go towards the bot when in the long strafes, first of all, those were pretty much perfect, honestly. You were pretty tight to it in long strafes. You were covered onto it, but you wouldn't flick to it. You'd smoothly adjust to it. When you had to reset your mouse, a lot of the time, or for whatever reason, you ended up way off the bot, you would always make a pretty long flick to get back to the bot, and you wouldn't go smooth when you got close to the bot. So okay, CFSI thin. I'm just going to take a lot of notes so I don't lose track of what I'm thinking, because I feel like this will be a complex session. So when way off, you tended to flick back and not smoothen out when you got close, which was something you wanted to get better at. And then short strafes. The short strafes were horrendous. So
yeah,
the issue a lot of people can face with short strafes, with a long strafe, you think of it as a move, as a velocity and a position. The bot is X distance away from your crosshair, moving at Y rate per second, so you know how fast to flick and where to go to get there. A lot of people will follow the technique of assuming the bot's going to continue in its current direction infinitely on short strafes, which that's a popular technique. It's not a bad technique for smoothness. It's not a bad technique for a lot of different kinds of scenarios. But for a short strafe, you know it's not going to continue in its current direction infinitely. So that's not to say you should be waiting for it to come to your bot, because it's going to flip back and forth. You should almost just treat the velocity as having significantly less weight and the position as having more weight in your recover to the bot. So what that means is focus mostly on getting to where it is positionally, and also a little bit on accelerating to when it gets to where it is velocity, so that you almost end up with your crosshair just kind of sitting in the middle of the short strafes. Like, I saw an Aimer7 tweet, I want to say a year ago, that got me thinking. He said, someone was like, I can't hit, when I'm playing Soldier 76 and they're playing Soldier 76 and they're strafing back and forth, I can't hit them. He was like, just put your crosshair in the middle of the bot. They're going to go back and forth. You're just going to collect them, farm them while they're going back and forth. That makes sense? So we're doing
I've heard that advice before.
Yeah.
I've just never understood how to apply it practically, because I felt like, I guess it's where I am in it, because like I can do it a lot with air. Now that you say that, it's kind of funny. I tend to do that a lot more with air. I switch to more of an edge track whenever I notice it starts going a lot faster.
You're not going to be able to edge track a short strafe on a CFSI thin at your skill level, if I had to guess, just because it's a fast thin bot. What we're trying to do is put your crosshair on the short strafe. Here, let me share my screen. I'm going to do a little Google drawing for you, and maybe this will elaborate what I'm trying to explain. So when you were trying to hit the short strafe, what we had was this guy right here is the short strafe bot. This cloud, oh, here's a cloud, nice. This cloud right here is, let's make this a fainter red, range, order. So this cloud is the maximum range of the short strafe. So maybe short strafe goes here, short strafe goes here, short strafe goes here, short strafe goes here, right, like that, right?
Right.
by focusing as much as you were on the velocity of the bot, so it's going left to the right and you're to the right of it, what ended up happening a lot is you'd go all the way past the cloud with a flick, and then it would go back, and you would flick and you'd come from this side all the way to that side, and you'd spend time outside of the cloud where there's zero probability of you ever hitting the bot, right?
Right.
So all we want to do is I'm to the right of the bot, you're to the right of the bot, you start moving to the right. And then the bot starts to go to the left. All of a sudden, it shakes you off because it's a fast short strafe. It changed directions. You're now to the left. Just go to the left. Focus on just moving towards the bot in the short strafe rather than focusing on trying to read where the bot's going to be by the time your crosshair gets there. Because in a short strafe, that's going to result in you being way out here. So you want to try that. So what it'll feel like is basically going way slower just to hit a short strafe. So want to try that scenario again and just go pretty slow on the short strafes and just slowly approach it. Let's see how that goes.
1 second. I can see your stream and it's throwing my head off.
Oh, no worries, no worries. I'll just stop streaming.
I was just going to...
It doesn't matter. I don't want to stream that. Alright, so you just had everyone on your friends list. That's crazy. For the long strafe, right? You this time around, especially on medium strafes and long strafes, there was a decent bit of trailing rather than recovering onto the bot, which is mainly why the score dipped a little. If you noticed that, which
Yes, I did.
yeah, so I'm guessing that was from trying to focus on being a bit slower with the short strafes, most likely. And
Yes,
as a result of that, you ended up, by being a bit slower with the short strafes, you ended up also being a bit slower on the long strafes. So you want to keep what you're doing the same on the long strafes, fast strafes. That'll be something you got to focus on doing. And I also want you to try to move, just really focus on moving towards the position of a short strafe and never letting yourself go significantly past the bot. If you're like 10 feet to the right of it and then go 10 feet to the left, don't do that. So you were better with the short strafes, especially in the first half. Did you notice that?
Yes, it felt a lot easier to actually read the target, but then it started varying between the straights. I felt like I couldn't quite do the transition between my wrist and then my arm to keep with some of the strafes, so then I wasn't able to fully keep up with the speed of the bike.
Do you feel like you're focusing a lot on manually transitioning from your wrist to your arms, or do you feel like you're just kind of scaling
Uh,
up slowly?
it's a bit of both. I noticed when I run out of range of motion with my wrist, I immediately am like, hey, I need to remember to use my arm because I started playing everything on about 20 cm. I Skypad, Sibdean skates at the ULX, and I started playing at 20 cm, so I was pretty much a pure wrist aimer for a very long time. Just now started to understand how to actually use my arm.
Okay, that's
Aim.
good. Um, Let me think. All right, so here's a little thing you can. So, how long ago would you say you started trying to use your arm again?
It's probably been about the last like month.
Okay, last month. Short stripes. Don't. In what sense did you go to for that?
Right now I think I'm done on 37 cm.
37. All right, so I want to give you something you can work on for the next little bit until you feel more comfortable switching to the arm. Basically, right now you're at a point where you have to remember to use your arm, which makes me think your arm is a lot less skilled than your wrist, which is supported by what you just said, the fact that your arm is less skilled than your wrist, right?
Right.
So what we can do is there's the mental forcing yourself to use your arm, which kind of creates the mental block that you might be facing now where you're like, oh, I gotta use my arm, and you're forgetting to use your arm, and that makes transition to different strafe patterns a lot harder. We don't want to be thinking about that. We don't want to be consciously thinking about our aim. Ever read The Inner Game of Tennis?
Say that one more time. I'm
Ever
sorry.
read The Inner Game of Tennis?
I have not, but I've heard a lot of people quote it for aim training.
Yep, I the before I even downloaded Kovacs the first time, I was on like the Kovacs subreddit, and the top voted post is like just a meme that says the inner game of tennis is the Bible of aim training, and it still is the top voted post. I think I haven't been on Reddit in like a year, but probably. So point is, very good book, 4 hour audiobook, really good on helping you with motor performance. And we don't want to be thinking about our moving through the cycles of motions and all that stuff. We just want to be allowing our arm, wrist, fingers to move. So what I'm going to recommend to you is one, play that scenario. Or play, what I'm going to recommend to you is instead of trying to mentally focus yourself to use your arm, I'm going to give you a couple wide angle tracking scenarios, wide angle flicking scenarios. I want you to play them on 50 to 60 cm. Wide angle flicks playlist. I'll just throw up a wide angle flicks playlist for you after this on top of the normal playlist I'm going to make you. And that one you can just play it on play through it on 50, 60 cm, and that'll be fun. Yeah, so this was the playlist you wanted me to say. Yep, I knew it was going to have some form of TAM target switch on it when you said it. I just had smooth region. I knew it was going to have TAM target switch. I think this TAM target switch scenario is going to be a really good one for achieving the goal of trying to flick and transition into a smooth motion. I want to see how good you do on the smooth hard version though. We might want to go to an easier version potentially. Even though you are in the top 10% of the scenario, I want to see how good you do with it. Mind just playing through it once?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'd reset that one.
Okay.
The edge of my mouse pad that hurts.
Yep. So I'm guessing what you're noticing that you brought up was that you'll have a fast flick, and then you'll stop, and then you'll kind of carry that into a and then you'll start your micro or your track or whatever, and that's what you kind of want to fix.
Yes. Micros especially. I know people say they're supposed to be way easier on SkyPad, but
Mm-hmm.
my micros have always been way easier on cloth.
Mm-hmm. That makes perfect sense. I'm about to explain why once we finish the scenario, and we're about to have another Google drawing. Hold on 1 second. Let me just open back up my YouTube.
The
Form.
games.
So one time, I want to say it was probably a year ago, I managed to successfully gaslight Cartoon into giving me a free coaching session. And this was one of the main things we talked about in it. So now I'm going to give you the cartoon graph. So when you start a flick, you have this kind of fast initial acceleration, right? You don't really taper off at the top, but I ran out of room, so you kind of taper off at the top in this diagram. And then when you get close to the end, you have two, we'll call them options, but there's a right and wrong answer. There's this. This is what you do. You stop, and then you kind of resume the micro adjustment, right?
Right.
So what our goal is to learn stopping power to the point where you stop, and then you carry that momentum into the micro adjustment. So you think you're bad at micro adjustments on SkyPads because you have less friction, it should be easier, you don't know why. The reason is the stopping power period. You're not as good at the stopping power, which means that you end up feeling like you're either forced to do this all the way down and then start the micro up from scratch, or if you try to do this, which I'm guessing you have tried in the past. No?
Yes, when I do it's really easy for me, not really easy. It's easier for me to do on static,
Mm-hmm.
but not as easy for me to do with
shake motion.
Right.
What static scenarios? You can just list them off, like.
Okay. I don't even remember. I will pick a playlist. I'll pick a couple of playlists that I run through, and I pick the scenarios.
So nothing particularly wide. Let's go to online scenarios. Look up wide wall. Pokeball. Wide wall 3 targets Pokeball. Look, you gotta look up the wide wall 3 targets. Pokeball. Play the first one. Or actually, let's play the second one. I think you're more of a small version guy. Most people have on the big version, but I want to see you on the small version because I feel like the big ones you'll be too precise with. Just flick around and tell me how the stopping power feels. I can already tell it's garbage. Like, look at the... Not garbage, but not the best.
I forgot this is a Pokeball.
Yeah, you're good. Yep. So even though you're not completely stopping your flicks, you're not carrying the momentum of your flick into the micro adjustment most of the time. You got a lot of shakes in the stop, and you're not really able to accelerate as much. A lot of these, you kind of glide. And then those 3 where I was pointing it out, you didn't glide and you had overflicked and had to fully stop. That's the thing. If you don't push your speed to a certain point, then the stopping power won't really help too much, per se. Because you won't be exercising stopping power, because the only thing that makes stopping power hard is the fact that you're accelerating. Does that make sense?
Right.
So instead,
I was gonna say, because when I play things like
if you're playing a Maddie Overwatch 1 wall 6 targets small, where there's like 5-6 targets clustered together, a Vox TS Viscose Varied,
it was the small version of the Vox TS, like the super small one. It's the exact same issue that I have. Because like I tried to push my speed, because I tried to I wanted to actually push for a top 10% on that one as
Mhm.
well, but I could not. I every time I landed so shaky that it became virtually impossible for me to.
The more complex a scenario name sounds, like if it's Vox TS versus Vox TS Viscos varied 10% smaller, 20% more health, the average skill on that scenario is going to go way up. So getting a quote unquote top 10% score on a more like an advanced VT benchmark scenario, getting a top 10% score on that is way harder than getting a top 10% on something else. Yeah, with this kind of scenario, you don't really want to be micro adjusting what you're not. This is pretty decent.
Yeah, this one was too big for the one that I was trying to find. I can't remember what it's called, but it is the like it's a Vox TS
There's a
small.
million Vox TSs out there. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Um, do you really want to push like top 10%? Do you like want me to like
Uh,
yeah, if you really want to push top 10%, let's look at it.
so I'm just trying to figure out where. I'm sure it's on
We got a
any
lot.
of these. I couldn't remember names to save my life,
It's all good.
so I saved playlists to find the things that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I ended up working around that.
I got you. I got you. If it makes you feel any better, I can't remember what I'm trying to say without a video script. So yeah, I'm sure you've noticed that by now. But yeah, no, I can't remember things either.
All the speed playlists are all really big targets, so it has to be a static playlist.
I doubt they'd put a Vox TS on a static playlist unless it was a really long static playlist.
That is totally fair. Fort Banger does that shit all the time and gets on my nerves because I'm like I can't play any of your playlist all the way through.
Because they're so long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I will spam reset. I follow a lot of what Matty has expressed on how he plays playlist
Mm-hmm.
and how I will spam reset a scenario until I'm getting consistent scores on it. Because if I have two very inconsistent scores, I don't feel like I earned the highest score. So I will try and hit the highest score at least twice.
I don't mean this as like anything negative. I'm just saying this because it's true. The reason that works for Maddie is because he's got like the aim trainer kind of autism where he can just play the same scenario for 6 hours at a time. And I'm gonna say that doesn't apply to you because you have it's probably VT Sky TS 30 advanced 30% smaller now. Wouldn't that be it?
Right? I know it's built the same way as the.
Yeah, but point is, Maddie's just built different than every other human being on this planet. Like, I'm not sure if you saw the Twitter edit the other day, where it was Maddie gave it a seal of approval, but it was basically Maddie's what's it called? It was a bunch of clips of Maddie at the aim trainer LAN where the reporters would go up and try and give him a fist bump or like say hi, and he'd just completely not notice it. And then like him just dominating scenarios. Point is, he's built different. He can play scenarios all day long, all night long, all year long, because he's just built different. If you are a functional human being, it's honestly better to just play a scenario where you really focus on technique, focus on improving, and then if you absolutely want to grind score afterwards, you can grind score. But if you want to really get better faster and not play all day like Maddie does, what you want to do is just focus on correcting your technique, working on your stopping power, working on your things. And yeah.
Since one of them. This is the easier version. It
Okay.
has more targets.
So what I'm noticing a lot with the bigger targets and the smaller targets, in the bigger target version, after you'd finish a flick, the shakes would be contained within the circumference of the bot, so it wouldn't matter that you were having a bit of shakes. On this version, the shakes are not contained in the circumference of the bot, so if you want to push score on this, what you should do is really focus on slowing your speed slightly to a point where you can be smooth. And if you want to improve at this scenario, what you should do is focus on holding the speed, but really, really try to stay within the circumference of the bot every time you land on it without needing a micro adjustment. And eventually you'll get a much higher score than you ever could have. But if you want to get a quick high score, just push to 10%. Slow down just enough that you're not shaking in and out of the bot on every land. Like, without a micro adjustment, yeah, like those three, and you'll get a high score relatively quickly. Bonus points if you make sure to target clusters and don't go back to a bot you put some bullets into and then missed until it's in a cluster.
Okay. Because, yeah, I grinded all of the Voxes for a very long time because I thought it would help me with my just my acquisition of targets and game. I want to be able to actually be able to click on a target as soon as possible is generally where it is, because it's the same mindset between any game. The less downtime I have, the better it is.
So if you slow your flick 10%, right, but remove all the shakes around the target before the micro adjustment, you're gonna increase your first shot accuracy, the time it takes to hit your first shot on average. Like, I am all for most people say I advocate too much for pushing speed and that kind of stuff, but in this case, I would say just focus on being a bit steadier with the technique and trying not to shake around the bot. That's the way you'll get Vox DS to apply. Slow down or focus on not shaking. Like, if you really want to work on in-game, just focus. Yep. Don't even bother slowing down for the high score. Forget about getting top 10%. Just focus on not shaking around the bot, and when you land on the bot, just immediately acquiring it. And that's obviously not something you can do overnight. You'll probably have to train that for like a month or two, but once you get it, you'll get it. Focus on slowing down, not shaking around the bot. So let me think, what other scenarios or issues do we want to look at? So the close fast strafes, I think, will help you a lot with the AD spamming people who are, when you're tracking someone AD spamming, and if you really work on the middle part. So I want to make sure, do you want me to elaborate at all on the short strafes technique, or do you feel like you understood that?
I get the concept, although it's just going to come down to applying it.
All right, nice. Yeah, applying is all it. Applying, you really just got to go in. Every short strafe, you got to try to apply the technique. Every time after the short strafe, you got to say, did I successfully apply the technique? And if you did, give yourself a pat on the back. If you didn't, make sure you apply it next time. And then if you didn't, just always be focused on that. And maybe at the start, at 1 in every 10 short strafes, has the technique applied all right. 30-40% of them have it, and 50% are just no technique at all. And a month from now, it's 50% are good with the technique, 20% are and 30% are no technique at all. And that's improvement.
Okay.
So yeah, just focus on getting the technique down, and that'll help you get better. Let's see, what else do I want to look at? So the stopping power thing. You understand that where your micros aren't bad on the Skypad, but the action of transitioning into the micros is the problem.
Right. So
So
that's I guess the question for me is that saying I'm not flicking correctly, or is that I'm trying to flick too fast?
okay, so flicks and micros, a lot of people think of them as two separate things, and they're the two parts of a static scenario, right?
Right.
I want you to add stopping power as a third key part on the same level as flicks and micros because it's how they interact with each other. So you can have terrible stopping power like you just did on the second bot, and if you slow down your flicks to a crawling pace, then of course you're gonna not need good stopping power to transition into the flick. But if you flick at a good pace, like you've been doing, you're gonna need to work on your stopping power, work on actually developing the ability to slow down the flick and transition into a micro adjustment. And that'll be separate from the flick. You can have it, you can work it at a higher flick speed, you can work it at a lower flick speed, but it's really just the act of slowing down, and it's not part of the micro adjustment either, because the micro adjustment is transitioning what remains of the momentum after you slow it down into the target.
So when I do that, because like I feel really comfortable to a certain degree with some, I think it's more horizontal flicks than anything else, but I get very, very tense on my
Ooh.
static. On my highest static scores I've ever gotten, my wrist is extremely tense and I actually hurt afterwards.
Wrist tension. How much are you pushing down on the mouse, would you say?
I tend to avoid doing it as much as possible. A lot of times,
Is your wrist constantly tense throughout the run or just during the stops?
it's usually tense when I initiate the flick, and then I'm able to get like some relaxation, and then if I see too much shake, that's when I start tensing through the entire thing. I never figured out how to
Your
balance those
wrist
two.
is your wrist is too tense. Okay, so for one thing that makes me think you might be using a bit too much wrist in the static scenarios and just whipping your wrist around, which obviously we're gonna have you unconsciously work on. Like in this scenario, if you're making all your flicks with your wrist, that's bad. Another thing is you're gonna need some muscular tension because you gotta initiate a flick. We agree with that, and all muscular tension is just contracting your muscles.
Right.
Excessive tension is the real problem where you contract them too much. But in a scenario like this, what happens is once you notice shaking, then you start to scale up your wrist tension because you said you do that, right?
Yes.
So
And then
just
I start
don't.
over.
So just don't increase the tension and don't start over. If you start over every time you see a problem, it's going to make it a bit harder for you to improve just because you're not actually actively fixing the problem. You're just running away from it. You see what I'm saying? So instead, if you say, okay, I have this problem, I know this run's not going to be a high score, but I'm more focused on in game scenarios, and I don't have the Maddie Overwatch gene, so I can't play the scenario for the next 12 hours without without getting bored at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and optimize my time on the aim trainer and reduce my tension in this scenario rather than restarting it and then just wasting my whole day. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Is that
It's
answering your
kind
question?
yes.
Okay, good.
It's like as I'm doing this as you're talking, so I can actually actively think about it,
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's fine.
and it's becomes significantly harder for me to figure out how to actually do a flick now. I feel like my flick technique has like completely like fallen apart.
Without the tension?
Yes, but it feels so much better, and I actually may sound odd. It feels like my mouse is actually going where I think it should be going. Maybe not accurate, but like it's going where I'm moving it. instead of
Yep, because you
me
were
forcing
shaking
it to go.
before a lot, and now you're not shaking as much. Exactly. Exactly. You're more at one with the mouse, and you feel like you can't flick, but looking at your graph, it looks like you're around your average score. And the previous one, you were pretty close to the high score. So, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
That's what happens with tension. People feel like they need the tension. They don't need the tension. It's excessive. It's not good. And yeah, now you're improving. You still can have acceleration in your flicks. Like, you don't want to start gliding either. But releasing the tension while increasing speed will help a lot.
I still see the shake, but it is
It's
not
getting
as
better,
prominent.
and then you just and the shake's there. It's a skill in its own. Stopping power is a skill of its own. So just practice working on that. Practice on the focusing heavy on the transition period. You might have to slow down your flick sooner, not flick slower, but start the slowdown a bit sooner. Experiment with that, and eventually you'll end up getting better at it.
That makes complete sense. In your opinion, I think you were an advocate for the Skypad. I don't go. I'm not trying to quote you on that. I just don't. I can't remember. But I got the control pad that Wallhack Skypad released, and I will get it in later this week. How do you feel like pads affect training approaches?
Is it still a
Because
glass pad or a hard pad, or is it?
it's a cloth.
They released a cloth pad.
Yes.
Really? That's a bold. That's a that's hilarious. Um, I mean, I think your stopping power is instantly going to get a lot easier. Just from that, you might. I also think gear is kind of overrated at the end of the day. I feel like people get put too much emphasis on the kind of gear they use and all that. I like a light mouse because it's nice, and other than that, it doesn't really matter to me.
I fully agree.
What I use, I'm right now, and I will say I don't really play much anymore, so I more just have this pad on my desk for filming short demonstrations for YouTube videos and coaching session type stuff. But right now I just have the random like Kovacs themed mouse pad because it looks cool. I don't really focus too much on pads. If you want to be a pad guy, you care a lot about pads, like that's chill. I don't. Maybe the control pad comes in, your stopping power gets way easier, and that issue changes. I think the CFSI might get a bit harder because you'll have to accelerate more, and
the only reason I ask is because, like, does it change the fundamentals are the same, but does it change? Because I take a look and the bigger aimers, and a lot of, like, Matty, especially when it comes to a aim trainer main, he changes pads and mice and fucking everything depending on the scenario, which I fully recognize is unrealistic in the real world.
I'm pretty sure he changes pad and mice per scenario. Or pad per scenario, but I'm pretty sure everything he does is on the super light. That being said,
I was gonna say I think he has a super light with the different skates. So I think he has 3 of them.
Okay, yeah, he changes.
I watched a video.
Of course he does. Matty's hilarious. So
you said it first, the autism.
Yeah, like, and I mean, I kind of want to get tested myself personally, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that I think, yeah. But there's a difference between trying to optimize your score to go for the absolute best run ever recorded in a scenario, beating yourself by a significant margin. There's a difference between that And why am I blanking on what I want to say? And just playing
Getting
Apex
better.
Legends, and just playing Apex Legends. Like, you don't need to be the best player. There's a big difference between trying to like what you were talking about was how you struggle with a certain pad. On a certain pad, you will, what should we call it? On some pads, why am I losing? Give me 1 second to think. On some pads, we're gonna say, oh, does it completely change aim? No, it doesn't completely change aim. It might slightly optimize things if you're going for a world record. Like I said, it will probably make the stopping power in those scenarios a bit easier. And if you're going for a Matty Overwatch level score, it's gonna be a lot easier. But that's gonna be a big difference because 1 or 2 bots is a big difference. But for you, the main difference is just fixing your techniques. That's a very simple playlist compared to the ones you have. It's my main focus in playlist creation and coaching is to give people things, playlist scenarios that give them a sandbox to focus on the techniques they struggle with. So in this case, that would be a 50 to 60 CM playlist. 60 CM playlist. Focus on stopping power. And I'm telling you, stopping power on that sense will be like hard mode. I'm not sure if you're playing it on the sense, but yeah, release your tension. That's number one thing in all of aiming, is just letting the tension go. You'll feel like you're giving up technique, and as a result of that, you restart. But when you don't restart, you realize, oh, that wasn't even a bad run. It's an average run. So yeah, don't bother restarting. This is just a playlist. You play a lot of scenarios. You have what? How many playlists saved?
Too many.
Like 300?
304.
304? Yeah, so like you have close to as many playlists as I have saved, and I get paid to make playlists. So that's kind of, you see what I'm saying? It's like that's a lot of playlists. You know a lot of scenarios. You should be chilling with new playlists and all. You should be able to find good scenarios. So if you like a certain wide movement scenario better, by all means, just throw it on there and use that instead. So let's see. Close, fast, strafes, invincible. I take it from the issues you listed off, you've seen some of my coaching sessions?
Yes.
Streamed? Nice. So I'm guessing you've probably seen at least one Valorant stream where I have pure G horizontal clicking Valorant scenario on that. All right, cool. So that's good because
there's an AimLabs version that I try that's very similar to that, but it's more RNG, so it's more mouse control.
What's it called?
Than it is predictable. I don't remember. Let me.
I know I commissioned a few of those. It might be mine, or not mine, but LG56s that I told him to make.
It was in. It was a remake of Demon One's playlist that Mini God did.
Oh, then I didn't make that, but then yeah, Mini makes good playlists. That's a fine scenario. Tracking.
It was probably the hardest moving dots experience I've ever had.
With that kind of scenario, if it gets too hard, then it kind of loses its main focus, which is being able to smoothly approach the target and catch it, in my opinion. And if you, yeah, like that scenario you're playing right now, Pokeball, or that you were playing earlier, Pokeball, let me look at the name of it. Like the Pokeball auto wall 6 targets small. That scenario is a good scenario to go on. You can use it in exchange for the wide playlist. Like you also, I'm guessing, play aim training for what, like an hour a day?
Yes, I try and.
And I'm guessing you have playlists you really like to do for that hour.
Not anymore. I don't do singular playlists very often anymore.
That's what I'm saying.
Just
Like you have like a bunch of playlists and you're like kind of like rotating through them.
yes.
So me making you a playlist, that's not going to be your main thing, or else you'll get bored. And I'm fine with that. So I made you a few short playlists that give you a sandbox to work on the issues we talked about. But yeah, let's look at this. Is that the scenario you're talking about? No.
It's one of them.
What do you? Is this a tracking or a clicking?
This one's clicking. I have
Okay.
to be able to.
Oh, is it like spam click? Okay, I got you. You have to click it a certain amount of times.
Its pulse stays up longer, I think, the more you click it.
Oh, so you're trying not to get the ball to disappear. Oh, that's a cool concept. I like that. That's Minnie's play scenario.
Yes.
One thing I will say is that when you have to spam click a bot, that just becomes semi-automatic tracking. I wouldn't really consider that a true clicking scenario, though it is a cool scenario. I do like it. Yeah, Minnie always comes up with cool stuff. I know he's big into the inner game of tennis. I don't know if you've ever talked to him.
I haven't gotten the chance to talk to him.
I don't talk to him often, but we talk every now and then. He's a nice guy. Let's see. So your main focuses for now are focus on the short strafes techniques we discussed. Not flicking in tracking. Be smooth. Learn to incorporate your arm without thinking about it by playing wide scenarios on a low sense. Focus on stopping power. The stopping power, not only will it make your micros and static better, it'll make your ability to transition into a target that you want to track or hit dynamically after a flick much more easy.
Right. And I'm assuming that'll also make my reading easier because then I won't have my screen moving as much.
That'll be more the techniques we talked about in short, close, fast strafes where you're not flicking but being more smooth, being a bit slower, and just approaching the position of the bot.
Okay.
Yes. Let me see. Hold on one sec.
Unironically, might actually put a lot of time into this scenario too, just because I really like the way it makes me focus on having to smooth in my short strafes.
Exactly. And if you have other scenarios that you want to work on that are similar, just go for them. Reduce tension. Restart less. It's not needed. Restart less when focusing on technique. And in Vox TS scenarios, you have every single Vox TS scenario downloaded on playlists you regularly play, so I'm not going to bother recommending you one. Focus on not shaking when you land. Other TSs as well. Do you have any other questions I can answer? Because I do technically have a 5 o'clock coaching session. It is 5:03, so do you have anything else I can answer before we wrap this thing up?
Just one last one.
Yes.
Would you mind watching this last
Yeah,
run?
sure. I told the guy I'll just go late on the next guy. It's fine. All right, so we're kind of flicky, kind of. This is the semi-auto one.
Yes.
It's good to practice clicking when you're on target. That's a good thing to focus on. But in doing it, try not to change your technique into a flicking technique where you get on target, click, get off target, get on target, click, get off target. Try to still focus on treating it like a tracking scenario where you're getting on target and staying on target. Not a tracking scenario where you flick to the close strafes, but like a good technique tracking scenario.
That's what I'm working.
No, I was just joking. Um,
Oh, okay. Since I was like, I am super shaky trying to be smooth there.
yeah, but just try and be smooth. Don't flick to it, and approach it steadily, and you will improve very fast. 90th, is that 90th percentile on the leaderboard? Wait, hold up. Go to the leaderboard. Ranking. 85th percentile rank. Okay. All time. I was gonna say 14,000, and you're in the top 90% on some random small playlist thing. That's. I wonder if that's Mini's audience or if that's just how big AimLab is.
It's Demon's audience more than
Oh, is
likely.
that Demon One's playlist?
It's Minnie's remake of Demon One's playlist, and
Okay,
then
did that
Demon
video actually
supported
pop
it.
off? Oh, Demon One supported it.
I'm pretty sure that
Okay,
he.
that explains it. That explains it. All right, I gotta go to my next coaching session.
Right.
Please DM me any questions you have or anything like that. I will. I am always here to answer questions because I like answering people's questions. If you have anything to ask me, just DM me. I'll answer it. And other than that, just keep me posted on the progress. I'll probably check in with you in a couple weeks to see how you're improving, just because I like hearing about people's progress. And yeah, good luck.
Absolutely. You have a wonderful day and good luck on your next session.
Thank you. Thank you. Good day. Sorry about that. Sessions run late sometimes. Don't worry. If we need the
Oh,
time, I'll go late with you too.
oh, good, oh, good.
All right. Cool. Cool. So let me think. What do you? Oh, right. We already DM'd a bit. So you're trying to you're just getting into the aim community. So you've been trying to grind on Kovac just for the sake of having good aim,
Yep, exactly.
just for good aim for this its own sake.
Just for the game.
No game specific. Like you do
Nope.
play mostly Valorant, but you want to just have good aim in like all sorts of kinds of scenarios.
Yep. I play Valorant. I just downloaded Overwatch.
Yeah, you'll probably download Banana Shooter and Roblox in the next day or two.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do if you play a lot of aim trainers. You got to play Bad Business on Roblox and Banana Shooter.
Banana Shooter?
It's
Never heard of it.
just a yeah, exactly. That's the point. Like whenever I'm on it, I have to find. The only times I played were when I was with other people who, like, you ever heard of Rob FPS on Twitter? You ever been to training Twitter before?
Yeah,
You
I
ever seen him?
follow a bunch of people, but I don't think I follow that guy.
Rob FPS. You've never seen him before.
I don't
Let's
think so.
see.
Let me see.
X
What is it?
Rob FPS. Rob. Oh, you were searching Viscos earlier. No, two B's. Rob with two B's FPS. I'm convinced Viscos is gonna pass me on YouTube within the next year. No, no,
This one?
no, no. Hold up, let me check what his Twitter
Oh,
handle
oh,
is.
I'll. Yeah,
No, two B. Yeah, yeah, no space, two B's. Rob. Yeah, that guy. No, you don't follow him. Point is, he
I follow him.
dragged me in. He does a bunch of aim coach and stuff. When I'm
Mhm.
like not coaching frequently, I usually recommend TAC FPS players go to him. He was like top 20 Radiant one time. He's not bad at aiming.
Yeah, I was searching up this girl here because this is some crazy aim.
She's
What the
gonna
fuck?
pass me in the next for YouTube subscribers in the next 6 months, I think, unless I start grinding. But yeah, hop back onto Kovac. It's for me. This is probably good enough for that. But yeah, point is, Banana Shoot is just some stupid FPS game that people who, like, I've played it once and it was like the worst game ever. Me, Rob, and I think one other guy were the only 3 people on the server.
Never heard of this game ever.
Have you ever heard of Aim Beast before?
Yeah, I heard of
You ever do
Beast.
Aim Beast aim duels?
Nope, never. Wait, is it? How much is it though?
Aim Beast is like $20. I'm not saying buy Aim Beast. I'm just saying it's a funny game. You wanted the
Okay.
basic intro to
I might
Kovacs.
buy it
You
then.
get the basic intro to Kovacs.
I think I got my settings right. I had a. What is his name again? I had no, not this guy. Yeah, whatever. I won't find him. I had him fix my Kovacs because I had some weird ass.
Yeah, these settings look pretty actually nice. I like these settings.
Okay, okay.
So let's see. Can you hop on let's start with looking through. You have only playlists installed for you. All right. Have you done any benchmarks yet?
I try. Yeah, yeah.
Let's see what you got for
I
benchmark scenarios played.
started, but I never finished.
Okay, we've started, but we've never finished a benchmark sheet.
Yeah.
We're doing the Voltaic benchmarks. Okay, the new ones or the new ones. Okay. The new ones. Okay, what is that like? If you do you want to try and play through these, see if we can get some scores and look at that'll probably be a good starting point, honestly. Playing through
Right.
a couple of these. So yeah, just search up. Do we have the playlist downloaded?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, yep, right there. All right, let's just play through let's do the Pasu one and just look at your Pasu technique because Pasu is, in my opinion, having good Pasu technique is one of the fundamentals of Kovacs. So if you want to be a good
Mhm.
Kovacs player, you gotta play good Pasu. So let's play that first.
Yeah, this is the hardest one. Wait, let me turn on my
Exactly.
camera.
It's meant to be hard because it's Pasu.
Wait, is this angle here okay?
Yeah, it's fine. That's actually one of that
I
actually might be
just
the
switched.
best hand cam angle I've ever had in a coaching session. I'm not even lying to you.
Okay, I just switched it up to glass mouse pads.
Okay.
I like and
What is that setup? That's you got your own statue of Goku?
no, that's Luffy right here. Ah,
That's
and the other side I have Itachi. Yeah.
Why is that? Why is everything color coordinated? I have my own desk. I went outside. I found a piece of plywood on the ground.
Yeah, I
Slapped
saw
some
that video.
screws into it. That's okay. That's crazy. All right. Show me the pass. Let's see pass. I want to see pass.
All right, all right. Wait, Alexa.
I've
What
never
did I
seen
tell
that
us
new
about?
Voltaic logo before. I'm still used to their old logo.
All right, wait.
Okay, so we're honestly not even terrible technique.
Oh shit. Got some PTSD. Keep restarting the match. I mean the map.
That's got to be at least a silver score, right? Show me that.
Yeah,
Tell me
that's a
that's
silver
not
score.
a silver score. Tell me that's not. Okay, and it's not really close to gold.
No.
Okay, but it is a silver score. Good. Would have been mad if it wasn't. So nice. So good job. First of all, actually, and I mean it when I say good job. One is an easy passo.
Mm-hmm. You said what?
It's an easy passo, right? Because you
Yeah,
had
yeah.
what 78% accuracy on it, 77% accuracy, 100 shots, 77 of them hit. That's a really easy run for a passo. That
Mhm.
being said, you played it well. You were smooth with Your flicks were smooth. You were able to get to the target smoothly, and all that. But there are some important fundamental aim training concepts I want to take this chance to go over. So you know what clustering is? You know what clusters are?
Mm-mm.
So
Nope.
bots spawn across the map in like 10 different spots or hundreds. There, a lot of times they'll be in a whole spawn area. They can spawn anywhere on the map,
Mm-hmm. Right.
completely random. And as a result of there being 5, 6 bots, it starts to get pretty likely that the bots won't be equally distanced from each other, and even more likely that they'll have 4 bots in one corner every now and then. Sometimes the bots are all far apart, but a lot of times they're super close to each other. So what you have to get used to doing is tracking is when a bunch of bots are close to each other, you just click on you kind of focus on going there rather than focusing on the bot across the map. Just because
Okay.
that'll increase the distance, decrease the distance you have to flick, increase your rate of bots per second, and increase your score. Even on a scenario like Pasu, it's better to go for the clusters because you're more likely to be near bots when you finish that bot,
Mm-hmm.
even though they have some movement time than anything else. On static, it's essential to have a good static score, is to work on clustering, but on this, it helps. The other thing, you had to restart because you spent 5 seconds tracking a bot, a whole 5 seconds. So what you want to do, if you miss 1 or 2 shots in a dynamic scenario,
Mm-hmm.
move on to the next bot, where you are getting 77% accuracy. Should be probably 1, maybe 2 shots. After that, move on to
Right.
the next bot. You don't want to be trailing a bot forever. You want to just get
Mm-hmm.
it and move on to the next one. Let's replay this one more time, see what the score is, and then I think I'm going to put you on a harder passive. We don't want to flick and get shaky. We want to keep our crosshair stable.
Yeah, I was I was playing in screen share, and then a high-low guy said, "Okay, so you don't want to track these bots. Like, to track them, you're doing wrong. You
Yes.
should flick and micro adjust."
Yes, you did that good. There were a few you still tracked, but for the most part, that was actually the first thing I noticed that you did good. So good job not tracking the passive bots. Okay, when you miss a
Oh
bot, you
fuck!
don't need to just start flicking around randomly like, I'm panicking, I'm panicking, I'm panicking. There's no point in that. That's a waste of your time. So
All right.
here, pause the scenario. You can't stop restarting.
Oh, that was I was reloading. I was like
Okay,
resetting
you were just.
my script.
I didn't know this was a reload passive, to be honest with you. Oh,
Yeah,
so is
it
this not
is.
even an accuracy based passive?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did not realize that. I thought this was a regular passive. Okay, I only played the old Voltaic benchmarks. I haven't played the new ones. I mean, I have. I just have not put much time into them, so I don't really know them. I just like brushed through those scenarios whenever they came out. All right, let's go. We've probably done enough of this. Let's do a rail passive. Go to online scenarios. We're gonna do. Have you? Okay, it's like the 10th one down from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 right there. 8, 8, 8. 1 while 5 targets passive. Up 1, and then up another one. Up 1. There you go. Passive. This is the original Pasu, the good Pasu, the most evenly
Okay.
balanced Pasu, and I don't want you restarting. If you restart one more time, I'll make you
Okay.
unbind it. Okay, so when you get close to the bot, you're usually pretty shaky and you kind of lap around it. You see what I mean by that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's not good.
Okay.
We don't do that. The micro adjustment has to be stable and it has to be smooth. Someone explained the concept of smoothness to you yet?
Mm, kind of, but I didn't get it.
All right, that's fine.
I
Let's play through this passive, and then we'll switch to something where you got to be smooth. All right. Just gonna start taking notes while we're here. Clustering, clusters, slash targeting, clusters. I'm just gonna give you a whole aim training dictionary for notes. Bots are close together when they spawn. Focus on clusters, not target random lone bots. When you miss once, twice, and something else, move on. Alright. So definitely felt a bit harder in this kind of passive. Your accuracy is scored, so you actually get punished for roaming around, missing a bunch of bots and stuff. So you definitely want to work. So let's work on some smoothness real quick and try and get that concept down. Hit done. Search up Smoothbot Invincible Goated.
You spell that for me? Smooth.
Smoothbot Invincible Goated.
But it's spell
Oh,
smooth.
just smooth, like as in like you're smooth.
I know. I don't know how to spell
Oh,
smooth.
sorry.
Not
SMOO. Another O. TH. BOT. Space. Invincible. Like. Oh no, invincible. Like. INVI.
INVINCIBLE.
E.
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 Oh, E.
Yeah, you're
Doesn't
good.
Portuguese E's.
You're good.
I.
You're good. Hit enter. Smoothbot Invincible Goated. Top one. Yes. Play.
Ooh, damn.
Pause. Next one down. Smoothbot Invincible Goated easy. Play. Perfect.
I keep getting my hand stuck on the mouse pad.
If you get your hand stuck on the mouse pad, just play because I'm looking at your technique. I'm not looking at your score.
Okay.
Actually, pause. Go to settings. Keybinds. Scroll up. Scroll down slowly. I think we might have missed it. Keep going. Okay, scroll up. I want you to set ability 1 to E.
Ability 1 to E.
Yep. Alright, hit save. Oh, nope, you don't get a reset challenge button. Keep that off. You don't get that anymore. Unbind that.
Okay.
Backspace? Alright,
Let's
perfect.
put on
That's
backspace.
fine. You are not allowed to press backspace. Backspace is very far. I know you can do it reflexively. I've had that happen before. No more unbind button. resetting when you're Maddie Overwatch, you're just trying to get a high score is great, but
Mhm.
you're even if your end goal is to get really good scores in an aim trainer,
Mhm.
the way you're gonna get there is by improving your skill, not by improving your
Roll score.
best score of the night. And the way you improve your skill is by picking a technique to focus on and really focusing on it. All right, so on a scale of smoothness, that was like I give that a solid 7 out of 10. Basically,
Mhm.
to understand smoothness, there's three places you can be in a tracking scenario. You can be behind the bot, you can be in front of the bot, and you can be on the bot. And there's three
Mhm.
speeds you can have in a tracking scenario. You can be faster than the bot, you can be slower than the bot, and you can be on the bot. You should never be in front of the bot, and you should never go slower than the bot. So that makes sense. Like, you don't want to be moving where the bot isn't, right? You want to be
Yeah.
exactly. So you can either be behind the bot or on the bot. You don't want to be in front behind the bot,
Mhm.
but that's a mistake you'll make some of the time.
Mhm.
You don't want to be slower than the bot ever, because if you're on the bot, you'll fall off the bot, and if you're behind the bot, you won't catch the bot. So that's a speed you never want to hit, because we're never in front of the bot, so there's no point in ever being slower than the bot. So you can either be
Mhm.
faster than the bot or the same speed as the bot. Now, if you go faster than the bot when you're behind the bot, you're going to catch up with the bot, right?
Mhm.
And
Right.
then when you get on it, smoothness is the act of controlling the speed that you catch up with the bot on so that you never go in front of the bot and you never go slower than the bot. If you go too fast when you catch up with the bot for your skill level, what'll happen is you'll either end up in front of the bot because you can't slow down well enough, or you'll end up you'll end up on the bot briefly, and then you'll stop too hard and you'll end up behind the bot, and then you go too fast again, you slow down too much, you end up behind the bot, and that looks like shakiness, which
Mhm.
in English is the opposite of smoothness, which is why we call it smoothness, because you don't
Yeah.
want your aim to look shaky. You want it to look steady, but you also don't want to end up in front of the bot, which you did a few times, which is why you only got a 7 out of 10 on
Right.
smoothness.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Better than the explanation you heard before?
Way better.
Perfect,
Way
perfect.
better.
That is what I am here for. Hit replay and let's try it again.
I feel like I'm running out of mousepad every time.
Are you used to a bigger mouse pad? Oh wait, no, just because you're playing 50 centimeters in smooth bot, yeah, of course you're gonna run out of mouse pad every time.
Yeah.
Just because we didn't bother to change your sense. I mean, when you
Yeah.
play this in another
I'm
game,
not.
you
That's
can.
not my sense actually. Let me put my sense.
I mean, it is whatever your sense can be whatever you want it to be. At the end of the day, point four. What is that? Hold up, don't tell me. Do you know what that is in centimeters per 360? Don't tell me.
Kind of. I know. Mine.
That
It's
is
like.
that is. Hold up, I got this. I got this. 50. It's like 41
Oh.
centimeters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was playing on 50 centimeters.
Which is 0.32 in Valorant.
Okay, so it was way lower. Okay.
Or are you on 800 DPI? I just assumed 800. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm playing 100.
Yeah. So what sense were you on before?
I was. Wait, you talking about when we started?
Well, when you said you were way lower.
Oh, so yeah, I was 50 centimeters.
Like at the start of the session, or
Yeah.
oh
I
yeah,
was just
yeah, at
playing
the start of the
20
session you were 50
centimeters.
centimeters. Yeah, so that score improvement is just a natural cause of making a sense more optimized. So yeah, you're gonna run out of mousepad space on this scenario. Honestly, a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
time, but especially when we're playing it on such a low sense. Hit done. So smoothness is the act of steadily approaching the bot. All right, let's search up. Smooth bot invincible. Go to. Let's show me the benchmark sheet again. I want to go back to. I want to kind of ground this in the basic benchmarks. Yeah, let's go to. Oh, that's the War Owl playlist. There we go. Let's go to SkyTS. It's the one called SkyTS. Let's learn some target
SkyTS,
switching
right.
technique. You can just double click on scenarios when you're in playlist view. All right, play it.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right, if what you did in Pasu was silver, that should be iron. Let's check the spreadsheet and
Yep.
make sure that we're right about that.
50. Oh,
You hit a
wait.
SkyTS. You hit a 850. Nope, that is. Oh no, that is just under iron. Okay, good. And
Yeah.
you would have had bronze if we go off your high score. All right, so let's go back to Kovacs. Now, what's fun about this is that was all technique failures. Hit done and search up on the online scenarios. There's a scenario I want you to search up. It's called Jumbo J U M B O space tile space frenzy. Search it. 3 tile jumbo tile frenzy. Second one down. Right there. All right, I want you to just play this.
Oh.
You're good. Don't reset. Just keep playing. We might be in free play mode. Hold up.
Yeah, we are in a flip.
All right, we'll just do it. We'll just stop now. So, go back to the Vox TS or Sky TS. Sorry, Vox TS, Sky TS. They just rename Vox TS is what the scenario is called, and then Sky TS is like, it's just on the playlist. Yeah, just go back to the Sky TS. Sky TS is just a remake of Vox TS. Vox TS is the actual scenario name. So, on Jumbo Tile Frenzy, what was different than this scenario? What did you do differently?
I was just flicking.
And
I
not
was going
micro
fast.
adjusting?
Yeah, no micro adjusting at all.
Alright, so why weren't you micro adjusting there?
Because the target was really big.
So, that's the thing. In Sky TS and a lot of other similar target switching scenarios, what you find is these targets are also pretty big. You really shouldn't need to micro adjust most of the time on these targets, or else you'll end up wasting a lot of time versus slowing down your flick a little bit and just bouncing between them. It's not like a static scenario where you absolutely need a flick and a micro adjustment. This can just be done with just a flick. So retry it and see what you can do without micro adjusting. Just move a bit faster if you can. Okay. All right, try it one more time. Same technique. Don't really use micro adjustment. Just flick to the bots.
Ooh.
You're still doing the flicks and micro adjustments. Really focus on being stable with these. All right, stop this.
You know, I now understand.
All right, nice.
So what?
Stop this for a second. I want to see you play a static scenario. Let's just do the one wall 6 targets small on this playlist. One wall 6 target TS, 1W 6 TS rasp novice. Third one from the top. Third one from the top.
There.
Yep, there you go. Perfect. On this scenario, the targets are small, so you can micro adjust. And that's still optimal. Alright, so there's two really bad mistakes you were making, and two kind of not that bad mistakes. So the really bad ones are gliding, is one of them, right? Gliding is the act of flicking smoothly. When a target's not moving, right, and it's far away from your crosshair, you can flick, you can have a lot of acceleration behind your flick, and you're still able to slow it down and stop it on the bot, right? It's not like a tracking scenario where you're a bit behind the bot and you just got to catch up with it. You can be smooth. So
yeah, I'm having a lot of trouble with that because since I switched it up to a glass mouse pad,
you might find it's easier on a cloth pad. There's people who can do it on a glass pad. Do you have a cloth pad under that?
Yeah, no, I have it right behind me.
All right, let's try the cloth pad. A lot of times, glass pads are cool. They're fun, but
yeah, they're really fun. But
at the end of the day, and on tracking it'll help, but at the end of the day, you do need some levels of precise control to be good at them. Which I don't think you've really got yet. So if you have to glide to be able to use a glass pad, you got to work on your flicks and controlling your micro adjustments and stopping power first. hold on. Let me get through the list of things we've got. I still got 3 more issues I want you to do before we
Alright.
replay the scenario. So
Okay.
gliding, bad. Active flicking smoothly, bad. The other thing, shaky / multiple micros. Your micro adjustments should be one single straight line. Micro adjustments should not be shaky and not steady. You had also 2 smaller mistakes. On a miss, when you miss, you would go back and reshoot that bot. In static, 1 miss equals move on. You also a lot of times would choose a new target rather than go to the target you previously chose. Don't do that. You pick a target, you go to it. Pick a target, go to it. Pick a target, go to it. Don't see, oh, this target's in a bet. Once you should be picking your targets based on clusters, but once you start flicking to a bot, do not change which bot you are flicking to. That is way worse than missing a cluster because it wastes so much time. So replay it. Two things. One, good job. That was better technique. I could tell you would notice the technique. So that was good. Another thing, when you had 3 bots triangled up in a roughly the last 10 seconds, you missed one, you went to the next one, you hit that, you went to the next one, hit that. At that point, you can go back to the one you missed. It's just right after you miss it, you don't want to turn around to flick or stop and keep shooting it. But once you go to another bot, if you're still in that cluster, you can go to that. You don't need to plan your flicks out 4 moves in advance. You just want to have the next flick planned out before you finish killing the target you're on. That's all. Another thing, in the first bit of that, you would have very shaky micro adjustments. I think around 40 seconds and around 10 seconds, you had very shaky micro adjustments. And around 25 seconds, you were gliding. But every time your technique would crumble, you would get it back and improve. I want to see you play this one more time and see if we can get good technique the whole way through. Okay.
That was actually worse.
What?
I feel like that was worse.
It was actually the exact same run in terms of misses and stuff. You just missed a lot in the beginning, so it felt like it was bad. And then there was one point around 17 seconds where you choked again. But before that, you were on pace to clear your high score. So it was actually there was probably a 30-second chunk in the middle of that that was your best run ever.
Okay.
So good job, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, that teaches you a lesson. You would have restarted that run if you could have.
I would.
I
Definitely.
would
I
have
thought
restarted that run. I
I
wanted
was.
to be
I
able to
bred.
press restart
What?
for you after those first 10 misses. But then there was a point where you were about a high score. So, what that shows you is you're not Matty Overwatch. You don't need the optimal conditions to get a high score. You can just play
Mhm.
through and get a high score.
Yeah.
So don't worry too much about that. I think
Mm-hmm.
if we played this scenario 3 more times, you would get a high score in it.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I don't think that's super necessary. I just
Mm-hmm.
want you to really understand to control your micros. How tight do you feel you hold your mouse when you run this scenario?
Really tight.
All right, you want to try and think of your mouse like an egg. Keep the techniques,
Mm-hmm.
but relax your grip over the mouse and replay the scenario.
Okay.
Like think of yeah, just pause for a minute. Imagine you got a really fragile like thin egg in your hand that you don't want to
Mm-hmm.
break. That's your mouse. Replay the scenario and let's see if we can apply the techniques and get a high score. Let me guess, the tension was worse. The tension was better, but that run felt worse.
Mm-hmm.
And you did
Oh,
not see
way
the high
worse.
score coming at all.
Nope.
You want to
I
hear a
felt like I was
little
playing like shit.
surprise? You were actually close to 840 for most of that run until and 850 until the last second choke.
Mm-hmm.
So another reason why we don't want to restart. You would have restarted in the last 10 seconds and
Yeah.
lost the high score. So even though we're mostly focused on the technique, that being said, it felt bad, which is good because that means you were focused on your gliding, you were focused on your shaky and multiple micros. But one that gives us 2 lessons. One, you don't need to be a perfect aimer. You just want to get better than you were the previous day. Two,
Mm-hmm.
being focused helps because then you're aware of what you're struggling with, your micros, your slow flicks, and you can correct them. Three, tension is such a bad issue that you can have good technique, but if your tension is bad, you're just going to be done.
Right. Makes sense.
So, and if your tension's good, you'll improve immediately. So, yeah, hit done. Good job on that. Let's go to and really focus on applying those techniques. I think I listed them off to you. Gliding, yep. I gave you a bunch. Reduced tension. I'll write that down. Reduced tension, even though you should be able to remember that. All right, cool. Let's go back to Kovacs. Yeah, I do like the way your grip looks, so that's fine. What mouse is that on? Is that an HSK? No, yes. Is that no? What mouse is that?
Oh, that's a 1P1AK.
Okay, yeah, it looks fine.
I just swapped it mid session.
Okay. Oh, we're swapping through format. That's hilarious. No, that's fine. That's fine. True meta.
Not because I only was using that one on the glass mouse pad. I feel like this one on the Artisan
Okay.
feels way better.
Okay. That's fine. I
It's overall
like how
better
I can
match.
tell your grip allows for some finger motion, so that's chill. Can you show me Kovacs?
Yep.
Nice. Let me see what I want. Let me think what I want to see. Let's do one precise orb run. I think that's either Aaron on the playlist.
Place?
Yeah.
Where?
Precise orb
What is
novice.
it called again?
Precise orb novice.
Precise.
play it? Oh no, never mind. That's a PGTI. I don't want to play PGTI. Let's do. Oh, they really don't have an Air Angelic equivalent anymore. They cut that. That's a shame. Let's do Psalm TS. Let's look at Psalm TS. I want you to apply the Sky TS technique we were talking about, but even further.
Mhm.
So let's try it.
What's it called?
Psalm TS. It's PSALM. The one you're hovering. Yeah, that one. That's pronounced Psalm. Weirdly enough, English can be weird sometimes. You want to apply the fast flicks, not too much gliding, but maybe more than the static scenario, just because it's okay. And then avoid micro adjustments and keep the stability from the micro adjustments we're trying to work on. But instead of trying to make a good micro adjustment, you're just trying not to shake when you're close to the bot, and you're trying not to lap around it. You know what movement reading means?
Nope.
Alright, this will help you in passive, this will help you in tracking, this will help you in this scenario. Movement reading. What I want you to do for this is try to not only understand where the bot is, but also where it's going, and flick accordingly. If a bot's above you, and you shoot straight up, but the bot's also moving to the right at the same speed that you shoot straight up, you're gonna end up having to shoot to the right when you get up to the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the bot's above you moving down and you shoot straight up to where it is above you, you're gonna end up above the bot and have to flick down, right?
Yep.
So that's part smoothness, but also on a scenario like this where it's more speed switching, that ends up coming down in the scenario like passive where it's clicking, that comes more to trying to figure out where the bot is and just flick to it. Figure out where it is and where it's going and flick to that rather than flicking to the bot itself, if that makes sense. Alright, hit done.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Flick. And that can help even be combined with smoothness, where you're moving towards where the thing's going. It's just when you're going, the smoother you're going, the easier it is to do that. Let's see. What do we want to try? Let's search up online scenarios, control sphere.
How to spell sphere? Sphere?
SPHERE.
R-E?
Yeah, exactly like that. That you can search it.
That makes no sense.
English. Welcome to America.
So this one?
Yep, top one. Perfect.
Ooh.
Remember the smoothness? Another important part of smoothness is remember we're not moving slower than the bot, which includes not moving at all. So you don't want any crosshair downtime where you're just stopped trying to figure out where it's going. Yeah. So we want to be always steady. I'll probably... This is going to be on free play mode, so we'll just... You could just stop it now. Let's go to control sphere easy, one down. That'll be a better scenario for you. Nope, this one's too easy. I knew they'd have some massive gap. Pause it. Scroll down, look for... Let's see if they got control sphere. We're looking for like bronze or silver next to... medium? Yeah, that's probably good. Yeah. That'll be good. Play it. Yeah, I like that. Yep. Yep, you can handle this one perfectly. So it'll force you to be precise and smooth, not giving you super easy scenario, not giving you something that you'll effortlessly do like the other one, but it'll actually force you to be precise and smooth. Unlike the other one, which will just confuse you or be too easy. Alright, nice, that's good. So yeah, just focus on not stopping your mouse, getting close to it. And I think I am going to give you maybe one run of regular control sphere just to struggle through and try to be smooth through that. But for the most part, this one will be a good one for you to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And this will just help you really be precise, read a target, and all that fun stuff. So, benchmarks, you don't want to be training on them. This is just a general concept.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you've ever tried to make an aim benchmark before, which you obviously haven't, what you have to do to make a good benchmark is you need the scores to be consistent, right? Because otherwise, if
Mm-hmm.
you one round, like, remember we played the 106 targets, you hit an 800,
Mm-hmm.
you hit an 800, and then we improved your technique, you hit an 830.
Yep.
The score was very consistent. If you make a scenario too easy, where you might only hit 10 bots in the whole run, it's going to be a really wonky score. Or, I mean, too hard, where you only hit like 10 shots because the bots are so small. There's going to be a lot of variability in the score, which means it doesn't make a good benchmark. But that means that it's got to have a certain level of easiness to it, where it might not be the optimal scenario for training on, especially for the tracking ones, which is why it's nice to have a few hard and dynamic clicking and all those types of things, which is why it's nice to have a harder scenario every now and then, like
Mm-hmm.
this one. So that's why we're doing that. Let's see. We've gone over a lot of aim trainer scenarios, so I want to open it up for question. And you asked for Tor or Kovacs, so I gave that to you. So now I want to open it up for questions and specific things you really want to get covered before we're done.
Um, questions. Yeah, I think people hear this shit. Um, does I was messing up with my my sense and also my script. It's kind of weird because I know on OP1 AK I should be playing claw on it because sometimes my hand would get stuck under the mice, and also would happen with this one as well, even though it's bigger. So I don't know, maybe it's just because let me see with my camera real quick. Something better right here. My mice, like my hand, I don't like. People usually say I should put my mice this like this, right,
Mm-hmm.
and hold it on this direction right here.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel more comfortable like this. Way more. Like,
What did you change between the two things?
oh
Hold
here.
up. So that's the one
Let me
people
use my
say.
other hand. Yeah,
Oh,
this
so
one
you're
right
just
here.
turning your wrist. You're just and sliding
Yeah.
back your pinky. Okay, yeah, you probably will feel more comfortable. The thing is, when you hold it the other way, what
Like
happens is the
this.
sensor becomes perpendicular, so your horizontal movements are truly horizontal, your vertical
Mm-hmm.
movements are truly vertical, right?
Yeah.
So what you would
This one.
do is I'll send you a invite to a Discord server. Hold on, I know you love AIM Discord servers.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, I'm just gonna send you a link to a video. That'll be easier. It's not my video; it's someone else's
If you're like
video.
me
but
and
it's actually Kovacs official channel video, but you'll like this video. Kovacs, I think this is like their most popular video on their official Kovacs channel. Fix Shake. Oh, yep, it is their most popular video. Oh man, they beating my most popular video. Copy. Link address. Control V. Control C. So what this video does, it gives you it basically just, it's not an aiming secret, it's just a guide to set up a little software that'll alter your mouse sensor angle so that instead of having
Oh,
your mouse so that
talking about angle snapping.
no, not angle snapping, no.
Okay.
No, no. Angle snapping is a
Okay.
meme. This is a real thing.
Yeah.
This will basically angle snapping
Mm-hmm.
just makes it so that your inputs aren't actually your inputs. They're just some thing way too close to this target, right?
Right.
For actual aiming, right? We want to
Mhm.
be able to, when you move your mouse slightly up, it goes slightly up. When you move it at a diagonal, it goes diagonal. When you move it down diagonal. Those types of things, right? So angle snapping hurts. What this does is it allows you to rotate how the mouse sensor is perceived by the computer, so that if you hold your mouse 10 degrees to the right, it will report it as being held completely vertical. So that if you feel more comfortable with a rotated grip, an augmented grip, it still reports as being vertical and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I get it.
Because, yeah, so basically the thing people said, that's no longer a problem. So let's see. Your sense. So
Yeah.
you copied a random pro gamer sense, that's usually fine. But most pro gamers, they don't even know why they do their senses. Like, I was talking to a guy he pulls out a list of all the pro gamers in all the regions, and he's like, look, all the pro gamers do this, why would they all do this? I'm like, okay, do you have any idea why you do it? He's like, no. I'm like, are you signed to a team to play Valorant professionally? He's like, yeah. So I'm like, why would anyone else on this list have any idea why they're doing it if you don't know? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, there we go. So a lot of people a lot of times don't really know why they do something, they just kind of do it. That being said, if you're just going to be an aim trainer player, just do what every other aim trainer player does. Pick a random sense every day, play it, it's fun, you like it, you play it, you don't like it, you play it, just whatever. You find you'll try and push the range of senses you're comfortable in. Don't think of sensitivity as something you should be optimizing. Think of it as something you should be good at in as many senses as possible, and just play around with them, change them a lot so you can improve faster, learn different sensitivities. If you want to be an aim trainer player, that's what aim trainer players do. Most of the time you don't feel comfortable with your mice grip. Is that because of the rotation thing, or is that something else?
Yeah, it's because of the rotation thing, and here, let me just get the other ones. It's quite easier to explain. Even though I do the rotation, like I feel like I don't have enough control of my mice. Then I try to switch it, then it's still weird. Like I
Specifically
can never
on that
find the
one or on
actual
both of
grip.
them?
Both of them, both of them.
Is it
Even though
because you don't feel like
this
there's
one's
enough?
like
You feel like you have to sacrifice finger motion for stability?
yeah,
All
because I
right,
used to fingertip, right? But fingertip sucks. Like I could never improve.
because
For
it
some reason,
wasn't stable.
yeah, it's not stable.
All right, that you're agreeing with me, or are you just saying what I'm saying because you want to agree? Like that's
Yeah,
why
yeah,
you stopped
I'm agreeing. I'm
fingertipping,
agreeing.
and you were fingertipping those
Yeah,
mice.
that's why I stopped. Yeah, I was fingertipping both of them, and this one I was like, no, I gotta stop. So this one, when I'm playing, I put my palm like right under it and just put everything on top,
Buy that.
so my palm doesn't touch the mic.
Buy
Buy
that
that.
mouse. Buy this. Use code West at checkout if you want $10 off, and to send me $10 if you don't want $10 off. Don't, or if you don't want
Okay.
me to get $10,
I
don't
wanted
use it.
$10
I
off.
don't care if you use it, because then it seems like I'm biased. That's the only mouse I've used for a long time. It is 20 grams, 25 grams, I think, roughly, plus or minus 27 plus or minus 2 grams, I think, is the official weight. You're not stable because that mouse is too big to be stable on with a fingertip grip, because it's not a fingertip mouse. Let's see.
Yeah.
Your aim is kind of shaky every time I... micro adjust or track. I did notice that. Like I said, you got to focus on only having one micro adjustment, focus on being smooth, focus on all those things, and your shakiness will get better. Releasing the tension will help your shakiness get a lot better. Those are the two things to fix shakiness.
Mhm.
All right, vertical targets and stopping. All right, both of these require Kovacs. So let's just do them both at once. So vertical targets, search up on Kovacs. Show me your Kovacs. Search up PGTI. GTI vertical silver. Search. Play.
All right.
Okay, I like the technique. You're aiming vertically correctly. How much pressure do you feel like there is in your forearm?
A lot.
Downward onto the table?
Oh, so what?
Do you feel like your forearm's
No.
being pressured downward into the table?
No, I feel like I'm stretching my arms, like, and then just
You're
I don't know how
stretching
to
your
explain.
arms.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
like
here.
pulling up your shoulders?
Yeah, I used to do that when I
Like,
used to play Fortnite.
like
For some reason, when there was a target
shrug up your
moving,
shoulders?
yeah, I
Raise
was
your
just struggling
chair
up that.
a centimeter. Raise your chair like a couple centimeters.
Okay, let me grab the pillow there.
Yeah, sit on a pillow or something.
Okay.
Try it again. Tell me if you feel like you need to shrug up as much.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Is that the main thing you were struggling with in vertical aim?
Yeah, I think so.
You wrote vertical aim. Is that why you felt like it was hard, or because
I mean, I felt like I was using too much, like, because the target just moving up and down. For some reason, I would struggle.
like okay, it seems like you're doing pretty decent here. It's a relatively small, fast moving bot, and you got 35% accuracy. Like for your skill level, that doesn't, and what I've seen throughout the rest of the session, this doesn't seem particularly bad. You have the ability to have finger motion, your shoulder motion. Other than shrugging up, I could see how that would be really uncomfortable and make you struggle. I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with this.
Alright.
So
Oh, and
the stop power, yeah,
power
that's what we're about to get to next. So stop and power, it's obviously gonna be harder on a Skypad. That's just innately true.
yeah.
You lack a lot of precision. That'll be make it harder on a Skypad. But you're at a really beginner level. Obviously, I think you can know that because the benchmarks you're playing are literally titled the novice benchmarks, and you're getting relatively low scores for novice benchmarks. So there's a lot of cool fancy flick techniques you can get into where you manipulate stopping power, manipulate momentum, and micro adjustment. For you, flick stop micro. You don't need anything hard like that. Flick stop micro. The time saved with any complex techniques they bounce around in the Voltaic Discord will not help you out. Flick stop micro. So when you play, what you'll find is if you glide, which we already talked about, that'll make stopping power really easy. It'll be super easy to stop. When you accelerate, you're going to also have to have a deceleration period where you slow down your mouse and force it to slow down. So flick, slow down. Very simple. You think you want to try to go back to that static scenario and really focus on the acceleration and deceleration of your flicks?
Sure.
One wall,
Which
6
one was
target,
again?
small, rasp, novice.
One wall,
One wall,
one
6
wall.
target, small, rasp, novice.
Yeah, I'm actually blind.
Third one from the top. You're looking at the bottom.
Okay.
There you go. All right. Focus on the deceleration of your flicks. Decelerate it to a stop, and then micro. Make one simple micro, and do the other techniques too. Don't be going back to bots. Don't be doing bad things, but focus more on the
Mhm.
deceleration.
Like when I trying to like stop, just complete a stop.
And your tension's relaxed too, right? You're not holding your
Oh
mouse
yeah,
too tight.
I was.
That's fine. You're gonna have a really bad score for this one. This isn't, but that's fine because we're really just using this as a sandbox to
Mm-hmm.
experiment with not gliding, but also flick stop micro. Have you ever played a Pokeball scenario?
Nope.
It's basically a target switching scenario, but a lot easier. Or it's a
Mm-hmm.
target switching scenario, but the bots don't move. So it's kind of like a cross between static and target switching. That's all it means. Create new online playlist. New, yeah, new playlist. What was your username? 1M. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put on 1 while 6 target small. I'm gonna put on a bunch of scenarios that aren't benchmarks, and I don't want you to
Mm-hmm.
start benchmarking yourself with these scenarios because I don't think that's healthy for
Mm-hmm.
you to treat every scenario like you need to do the score, and I don't think you'll be able to really focus on technique if you're also worried about score. So we're
Okay.
just gonna these scenarios on this playlist are not benchmarks. Don't treat them like benchmarks. One
Mm-hmm.
wall, 4 targets, 30% smaller. Let's see.
Also about mouse grip, I
Yep.
heard that like for different scenarios, it's okay if I change my mouse grip, or for different games. For example, on when I'm tracking, I prefer to put my whole palm on the mice and just when I'm flicking, I like to have something to stop power. Like I like to have my hands on the mouse pad and just
Like whether you have your fingers touching the pad or not.
yeah.
Yeah, that's you can play around with that however you want. You wouldn't do that in tracking, but you would do it in flicking. You can do that as much
Mhm.
or as little as you want. I've experimented briefly with that technique. I wouldn't say I'm an expert on it. You're more than welcome to play with it, but I
Mhm.
wouldn't consider it like an essential
Needed.
part of aim. Just yeah, play
Yeah.
around with it if you like it. Do it. How many minutes a day do you aim train on average?
Since I started, 30 to 40 minutes.
All right, I'm gonna make you a 20-minute playlist. I want you to play most days.
Hmm.
One
I would
target.
probably play every day that playlist.
I'm not saying you have to play it every day. I'm not saying you
Mm.
shouldn't aim train every day, but I'm just thinking where you seem to be involved in aim training community stuff, you
Hmm.
will play a lot of different scenarios. So
Hmm.
you'll have like other playlists. So I'm just gonna make it 20
Okay.
minutes long, and you can spend the last 10 minutes benchmarking or just having fun with the aim trainer.
All right.
Let me think what else I want to put on here. Make sure to always stay smooth in tracking, even when the bot feels hard.
Okay.
Smooth bot, simple, coded, easy, easy. Let's see, what other scenarios do I want on this playlist? Oh right, Vox. I want a Vox variant. Vox TS. Viscous varied. Voltaic easy. Those will be two good Vox. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 scenarios, so we'll do 2 of each. Shave out 1 regular control sphere. shave out one of the. Do I even want this? I don't want this on your playlist. I'll put on one regular 114TS. 114TS. Voltaic. Save. And this playlist is called 1M. Okay, copy, paste. There you go. So this playlist gives you a little bit of a sandbox to practice all the techniques we talked about today. Also, since so this playlist gives you a sandbox to practice the techniques we worked on today. Since you got a streamed session, not only do you have the notes, but there's also a VOD on the second channel where you can go back and watch this if you're ever confused about something. So it'll be, I can send you a link to that if you want it. But yeah, just play that. That gives you a little sandbox. You can also play through any other scenarios people recommend you in any Discord. You can play through any other thing you want. You can play benchmarks for the last bit of the day if you want to try and get some high scores. A lot of people feel like benchmarks are a good way to keep aim training fun and entertaining. So do that whenever you want. Just play through it and have some fun. And focus on the techniques also. That's the key part. So yeah, keep me posted on how you're improving. If you have any questions about the techniques, ask me. I think we went over all your questions, right?
Right, yeah. No,
all right.
That was all.
Yeah, so good luck. Keep me posted on your improvement.
Thank you.
No problem. Bye. Oh wait, I'm still streaming. I gotta end my stream. I was about to start watching Shark Tank. Ending the stream. Ending the stream. Good. Oh wait, hello question. Do you have a playlist that's good for practicing micro adjustments? Try to work on like control spheres type stuff. Extra control sphere 1 is a good scenario for that. And also raw mouse control clicking 3 is good for that. And also just regular static, just because you want to force yourself to be good at static. Like you want to force yourself to have good stopping power in order to have good micros. Stop in the stream. Good night, chat.